All right, it's that time again. Time for another Sunday video. And I'm thinking we survive with an aluminum can. Let's get to it. Far too often, we go out on day hikes, go down to the lake, fishing hole, just a stroll through the woods. And what do you see laying everywhere? Some type of plastic bottle or aluminum cans. People tend to take those with them as they hike and enjoy the great outdoors, and then somehow treat the great outdoors like it's a toilet. And if you don't believe me, just go to any type of trail, state park, campground, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the one thing that's rarely talked about is one man's trash is another man's treasure. In this case, the trash is going to be an aluminum can, brand of your choice. They're all the same. It's very difficult to find an inferior aluminum can because of how thin they are. Most of the time, they're all the same. Now, aluminum melts around 1250 degrees Fahrenheit. You can do that in a basic campfire. You can also melt copper and bronze in there around 1900 degrees Fahrenheit. And those that watch my channel, you see me do that several times. Now, I'm of the opinion, and I vocalized this several times, the order of operation should be learn a skill, hone a skill, and then own that skill. While you're honing that skill, you're gaining experience. Once you understand the hows and whys, you then own that skill. Therefore, you can teach that skill. If you think experience means you took a class once 5 years ago, or you watched a YouTube video, or your instructor told you something, or your daddy told you, or your uncle told you something, grandpappy, back in 1920s said he did this, this, and this, or you watched this, this, and this, but you haven't actually gone out there and tried it on your own in the area that you live in different climates, my opinion, shouldn't be instructing anybody. So a lot of people parade this around as, we're going to survive using a plastic bottle. We're going to survive using the can. You watch the video, the can becomes compromised. It works once and that's it. But to me, there's very little thought process in that. And most importantly, they don't understand the hows and whys. Far too often, we're taught to boil water or make char material or char cloth. And it's a 4-foot flame coming off of it. The bottle is, immersed in logs and branches and packed all the way around with coals, and you're baking that bottle at 3,000 degrees, and you're carbonizing everything on the inside. You're boiling that water in 2 minutes. In reality, what you're doing is you're compromising the container. Steel melts around 22 to 2,300 degrees. Reaching anywhere around that temperature, you're compromising the integrity, and over time, it could cause it to break down. Aluminum melts at 1,250 degrees Fahrenheit. Just tossing an aluminum can or aluminum pan into a fire will burn it up like that. You want the heat. So today's lesson is heat. We're going to utilize the heat to char material, char cloth, and boil water without compromising our container so we can reuse it. Now, on that note, let's get her done. And now for today's experiment. We can prove the theory right now without actually doing it, but we're going to do it anyways. Why? Because it's more fun. It's not a 2-foot flame column that boils the water. It's not a foot of coals packed around the bottle that actually carbonizes the char material or punky wood inside. It's the heat. And to prove this, we'll use the sun. We have solar ovens. solar stills. You have a magnifying glass or sun lens. The beam of light that's focused through there actually creates in the ember on, say, a piece of punk wood that you can transfer to a bird's nest or tinder bundle. A solar oven will actually cook food, and so on and so forth. You can actually boil water with a solar oven or a solar still. Now, the theory's proved right there. It's the heat that's generated. So the fact that I'm using a thin aluminum can, I want to go ahead and reduce the amount of space inside here. Think of an actual char tin. Most people use what? An Altoids tin. They're that thick, they're that big. Pop a hole in the center for the gas, the white gas escapes, and then it carbonizes and you're done. Same idea right here. I'm going to place 100% cotton cloth inside here. It's going to land about right there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut the can in half, place one half inside the other half, doubles our thickness, protects the can, reduces that dead airspace for the gas to swirl around and vent out the top, just like an Altoids tin. And now we're going to make this opening smaller, flip it over, push that back in there, just allow a small opening for that gas to escape. Now this is your classic punk wood. You want to feel it. It should be spongy. If there's any hard spots, you don't want it. You want all spongy material. It's dead rotting wood. Perfect. Just like last time, feed the bottom into the top. Tighten it down. Now, what did we do right here? Someone's going to say, well, I would never cut a container. Okay, well, then you'd never make char like this, because if this was your only container and you had it to boil water, you probably wouldn't want to cut it. But being the fact that we already set the stage at the very beginning of this video that there's trash everywhere, and we're assuming we found more than one can, I can afford to use one can just like this. In doing so, we reduced that dead airspace by around half. Now that gas can swirl around and vent out the top, carbonizing my material or cloth on the inside. And what else do we have? As long as our container is not compromised, I can actually adjust that top to where it's actually level inside there, just like that. And I have an actual watertight container. The reason why the inside, the bottom is inside the top layer so that water can shed off, I can now take this and toss it into a haversack, butt pack, or backpack, and I have a storage container for my char for my next fire. Now, as I've shown several times, whenever you light a fire, and you want it for warmth, you want the fire lower than where you're actually sleeping at. That way all that heat travels upward. Heat likes to go up. So what's happening here is our rock is superheated, the cans are sitting on there, the coals are below, and everything's traveling up this way, including the smoke. So situational awareness, the breeze is blowing this way, taking everything with it to actually make our char and boil our water. Now, just like everything else that has to do with fire or heat, it's contact time. Instead of taking a stainless steel bottle and tossing it into a 4-foot flame column and the water boils in 1 minute, it may take 15 minutes, it may take 20 minutes. However, the water will be disinfected, meaning viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and parasites are eliminated, killed, rendered inert. Once we cool it down, we can drink it, and most importantly, we haven't compromised that thin aluminum container. The same goes for the char material, char cloth, or even that punk wood. So the water is disinfected. Now I want to remove this so it can cool down. Another good thing about not cutting this container is you didn't compromise this rim. 2 small sticks, some makeshift tongs, simply remove it. That is hot, so I'm going to try to hold the top and the bottom like this. But listen, this container is not compromised whatsoever. Once this thing cools down, we can drink out of it. Most importantly, I can do this again and again and again and just continue to repeat the process. Once again, we use the heat, not the flame or coals packed around the bottle, okay? All right, well, we're sitting here waiting for that. Guess what? The Etsy store is open. And once again, my Etsy store is open, and we have new skillet designs dropping right now. Check this out. Now keep in mind, all the previous models have sold out. At some point in the future, I might bring them back. But right now, this is the new and improved 2.0 Frontier Skillet. We have a 1/4-inch hole drilled into the pipe nub right there, and a threaded wing nut screw to hold the stick in place. Now this stick can be 2 or 3, 4 feet long if you want to. Put a Y branch in the ground, an L7 right here, hold it in place over that fire, or simply use it just like this. Get a bent stick, that way the handle moves upward. The options are endless. But right now, as it is, with that threaded in place, it's not going to fall out no matter what. And moving right along, we have our Cowboy Skillet 2.0. We have a longer handle that's bent at a higher angle as well. This way, for fires right here, it'll keep it higher and away from that fire, keeping it cooler that much longer. And last but not least, we have the Corporals Corner Folding Skillet 2.0. Has a longer handle as well. That way it lands on the rim of the pan versus landing on the inside. A lot of people were complaining about scratches, ruining the seasoning, things like that. Well, guess what? I heard you, and we made it happen. So now the handle's going to land right here. When you flip it over, it lands at a higher angle as well, just like the Cowboy Skillet, keeping it cooler. I failed to mention this in the past two videos. Yes, they're still available. The Corporals Corner Skillet Bag is available at Campcraft Outdoors. My Etsy store link, as well as Campcraft Outdoors, both those links are available in my video description box. Click on it and get her done. Once again, 100 skillets dropped right now. All right, here's our nice brown water. And that's gross, but guess what? It's disinfected and the container is not compromised whatsoever. A little bit of black right there, but you can still read the label. And we use nothing but the heat to boil or bring the water to a rapid rolling boil to guarantee that I'm not going to get sick and the bottle or container is free of viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and parasites. So that's a win right there. Now the next two. Did I make viable char? We had char cloth and we had punk wood that we turned into char material off the landscape. Once again, we utilize the heat. A little bit of blacking all around this here, but the material itself is not compromised. And I could use this again and again and again. Best part is we can slam these all the way down and we have a container that we can carry our char for our next fire. So again, a win and a win. Now the important takeaway from this video was we utilized the heat. We didn't utilize a 2 or 4 foot or 10 foot flame. We didn't bury it in the coals. We didn't bury it in the center of the fire. We didn't compromise the material at all. Now, by all means, if you need water right now and you have a heavy walled stainless steel container, you can place it in there. It'll boil in 2 minutes. Then you have to get it out, let it cool down for 45, wash, rinse, and repeat. But if you actually were out in the woods and you came across plastic bottles, you can go collect your water with that, find an aluminum can, place it in there, and boil it, and just keep doing it without any fear of actually ruining that container. And as you moved across the landscape and came across more trash, you can discard the one you used 2 or 3 or 4 times for a fresh one and continue on down until you're either hopefully rescued or you find your way back. So something to think about. This is not to piss anybody off or step on anybody's toes. I've just, over the years, have watched this, and I'm guilty of it myself. And then it occurred to me, what are we actually doing here? And that's, again, the real ticket. The getting the skills, honing the skills, and actually owning the skills. Understanding the hows and whys. And that, to me, makes a good instructor. And my final thought is this. If you want to be an instructor, or you currently are an instructor, in anything, automotive, medical field, survival bushcraft, and so on and so forth, if you're not actively out learning, making yourself better, going to different, climates, landscapes, and doing the exact same stuff to see how you have to adapt it here, there, and there, then you're never going to grow. And that's just my 2 cents on that. YouTube's a good outlet to show not only everyone, but yourself, what you are capable of. So if you're not utilizing that, you're only hurting yourself. With that, all the gear in my videos can be found in 2 places. 1, my Amazon affiliate page, and 2, my Etsy store. Both links are found inside my video description box. Now please do that favor, hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. And as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.